Welcome back, my friends, to the Fair Weatherman, as we dive into the dungeons of HeroQuest, a place like none other. Today I'm going to do a demo on how to play the character of the monks from the Path of the Wandering Monk, the HeroQuest character expansion that was released by Avalon Hill. You are a warrior monk, sent by your monastery to fight in the first Summer Moon World's End tournament. With Zargon's sinister ministrations creeping further into the lands beyond the realm, the Durgast Horde's fiercest ogres have violently attacked communities previously untouched by the Horde. You must enter the battle to prove your mettle as a mystical warrior. A wandering mercenary by trade and well-versed in elemental combat, the monk heeds the call, willing to join forces with anyone, eager to fight for glory and gold. He knows not the path, but the reason he walks it. The monk character is a student of unarmed combat techniques formed in reverence of the elements. You refuse to use armor or shields, instead rely on your heightened grace and agility. You may only wield daggers, crossbows, hand axes, short swords, and staffs. The monk comes equipped with the ability to use these elemental styles. Each elemental style contains 2 techniques that can be found on either side of the cards. Once per turn, choose one technique to activate. After you use a technique, that elemental style is exhausted. Heroes are encouraged to use any of the first 3 elements in any order, leaving the fire element for the last choice. The first elemental style is the air element. The Ice Storm choice allows you to make an action of an unarmed attack against all adjacent enemies. This technique enables you to attack diagonally. After use, it becomes exhausted. The monk will then be able to make a 2-dice unarmed attack against the orc and the dread warrior. The other side of the air elemental card is Soaring Dragon, where the monk could then automatically succeed when jumping over a trap. And in this case, if the monk was trying to escape, after rolling 2 movement dice, the monk could then run over here and soar over the trap without having to roll a dice to see if it was a successful move. Once the air element has become exhausted on the monk's second turn, as long as there's still monsters in the room, the monk could then utilize the second element, and this would be using the Strength of Mountain card, where the monk could then make 2 additional attack dice on an unarmed attack. So if this mummy was out of the way and it came back around for the monk's turn, he would then be able to use Speak with Stone, allowing him to search for secret doors and traps as one action instead of 2 individual actions. Speak with Stone actually works at any time, specifically if there are monsters present. So he can walk into a room, and if you suspect there are traps, he can use Speak with Stone to see any traps or secret doors. Let's say that the last attack was not successful and it's Zargon's turn to then use the mummy to attack the monk. If the monk had played last Twisting Torrent, this would block any damage taken on behalf of the mummy and render it neutral, thus wiping away any success the mummy had. The next elemental power that the monk has is Tidal Surge, which allows the monk to activate this technique by splitting their total movement roll before and after an action. So in this case, the monk could decide to roll, move forward here, make an unarmed attack against the mummy, and then continue the movement out the door to escape. These elements build upon each other, so if you're in a room with a bunch of monsters and heroes are taking turn after turn, and there's still monsters in the room, these elemental styles continue to progress. Now, if for some reason the monsters get cleared out, then the monk would reset all the way back to the air and then have to work its way up, almost like building a charge to get to the highest power, which is the fire element. In this scenario, if the monk was fighting against a gargoyle and they had worked their way up through air, earth, and water, that next attack is going to be a fire attack. We have Touch of Endless Inferno, which allows the monk as an action to inflict 1 body point of damage to any one adjacent enemy. The target takes an additional 2 body points of damage at the end of its next turn. The monk would give 1 point of damage now to the gargoyle. And then after Zargon's turn, automatically, when it came back around, that fire touch of Inferno would automatically give it 2 more hits, possibly killing the gargoyle or just severely wounding it. As long as there's a monster in the room, the monk can move from one element to the next. He would move on to Burning Spirit, which allows the monk to take an action, expel a beam of brilliant energy from its soul's core. This beam may be straight or diagonal and continue until it meets a wall or closed door. Each enemy in the beam takes 2 body points of damage. So in this case, the monk would move into position, and that beam of energy would work its way right through the goblin, killing the goblin, and putting 2 hits also on the Dread Warrior, and clearing out the room. A very powerful elemental style, and unique in its way it's dealt. Here's what I do to keep track of the elemental styles that the monk uses throughout play. As I use these, I will turn them sideways to know what I have coming up next and what's already been spent. And after I use fire, it's my understanding that they would then come back into play. The monk characters are a very unique aspect to HeroQuest. Initial thoughts were that they were kind of out of place to the dungeon experience that we've been used to, but they've really grown on me, and I really like the way that the attack is different and really creates a unique experience. Well, that is all I have today. Please subscribe for more HeroQuest content, and remember, your very survival depends on your ability to work together, for no true hero stands alone. Come, let the quest begin.